How's it going, everybody? Adrian here from the Gaming Observer, and welcome back to your daily news update for Wednesday, September the 16th. I hope you are doing extraordinarily well. Let's get into some video game news. Rocket League, otherwise known as Car Soccer, will officially be transitioning into a free-to-play game next Wednesday, September the 23rd, so 1 week from today. On PC, it is also going to become an Epic Games Store exclusive, so you can no longer get it on Steam. But I mean, it's a free game, so. Now, this is interesting because Rocket League has been a paid title since it launched in 2015. It has had an upfront cost. However, they have decided to make a number of changes ever since the company that developed it, Psyonix, got acquired by Epic Games last year. This started actually with the removal of loot boxes last December, which Epic has been very vocally against. Anyway, you know, making a big transition like this, it's kind of gonna bring some inevitable speed bumps, and it seems like Psyonix has tried to get ahead of them. For example, Steam owners of Rocket League are still going to be able to play the game, even though you can't, get the game anymore on Steam. And the developers have promised full support on the platform moving forward. So every single update is going to have feature parity between Steam and Epic. They're also going to be introducing cross-platform progression on every single platform, so consoles and all versions of PC. And if you are somebody who purchased the game in the last 5 years, you're going to get a number of cosmetic rewards as a thank you. A way of distinguishing you from all the new people that are going to be coming into the game now. Anyway, I'm super excited for this. I think Rocket League has just been a powerhouse since it launched, and it really does look like they're in this for the long haul, which gets me excited. And especially with a new parent company on top of them, I look forward to seeing what else they can do with the game. The next title from Frictional Games is Amnesia Rebirth, and it is now slated for an October 20th release date, just in time for Halloween. And so, while this is technically the third entry in the Amnesia series, it is going to be the second for the primary developers. You might remember the game Amnesia: A Machine for Pigs, and that was developed by The Chinese Room. That's considered to be an indirect sequel. Anyway, Amnesia Rebirth is going to follow the usual explorative horror tropes. However, the creative director has noted that this game is going to have a greater focus on narrative than previous entries. I don't think there's much else to say there, but the developers certainly have a lot of momentum going into this release, with their latest game, Soma, being very highly regarded. We'll see if they can keep that up. So, you might have noticed that Ubisoft's Immortals Fenyx Rising, which is the Breath of the Wild-like game that they announced on Friday, it actually had a name change. It was previously known as Gods and Monsters, went away for a little bit, now it's come back. And the cynics among us, myself included, assumed that it was a corporate directive, right? To make it easier to trademark and SEO and all that fun stuff. And while that might still be true, it turns out that there's more to uncover in this story. So, it turns out that energy drink maker Monster, right? Monster Energy Drinks, they didn't take too kindly to having the word monster in the title of a video game, and they successfully deterred Ubisoft through the court system. Basically, their argument was, hey, Monster Energy drinks are heavily involved in the gaming industry and in esports, and that, quote, Ubisoft's trademark would likely cause confusion or even deceive consumers as to the provenance of its goods, end quote. Ubisoft then fought back, rightfully pointing out that hundreds of other trademarks have the word monster in its name, but unfortunately that was to no avail. Now, it's interesting, earlier this month, an associate game director at Ubisoft insisted that the name change was actually a creative decision. They're developing the game more and they're finding out more about the character, so they changed the name of the game. And that could still very well be true, but it definitely looks like they at least had some assistance in that direction. On a personal note, I cannot believe that a company not in the gaming industry has successfully trademarked Monster for titles of video games. That's just something else. Okay, and our final story, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, that's the recent remastered bundle that they put out. That is now the fastest selling game in the Tony Hawk franchise history, having sold 1 million units in 10 days. The absolutely insane critical reception probably helped with those sales, especially considering the disappointment that was Pro Skater 5. And I mean, hey, I can only imagine that this is going to mean more Tony Hawk remasters down the line, I hope. I really want to see Underground 2. That was the one that I played the most when I was younger. But I definitely think that every single one of those titles is going to resonate with somebody. So I'll be curious to see if there's money there or if this was just a one-time thing. Anyway, folks, that's going to wrap us up for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I'd also like to give a special congratulations and happy anniversary to Carl and Honora. I hope you have a good one. Folks, I'll be back with the video game news tomorrow. And until then, happy gaming, everyone. Hello and welcome to the TGO After-Show. I am extremely happy to see how well the Tony Hawk series has sold. Mostly just because I'm pulling for Underground 2. It's funny, I think about that game a lot because, I mean, you know me, I play a lot of games over and over again. I play the roguelikes. I was just playing Slay the Spire today, in fact. Anyway, so that type of thing, even though I wasn't playing roguelikes when I was a kid, I was playing games like they were roguelikes, and Tony Hawk Underground 2 was one of them. I probably put hundreds of hours into that game. I really, really wish I could know my actual playtime on the games that I played back then. Underground 2, Mirror's Edge, Minecraft, Call of Duty, all of the Call of Duties, oh my god. Anyway, it's funny because I'll be living my regular life and then something will just trigger my memory of one of those games. I mean, the soundtrack is the obvious one, right? There's so many times that I hear a song and I'm like, how do I know this song? Then I realize, oh, it's because of the Tony Hawk game. I've literally never heard that song outside of the Tony Hawk game, and I can just picture myself skating, on a freaking boat. Anyway, but sometimes there's other things, like, I watched a lot of YouTubers when I was around that age, or I would watch a lot of television shows on repeat. Don't ask me why I did these things, I have no idea, but sometimes an episode of, like, The Big Bang Theory or Modern Family will come up, and I'll just get, like, a glimpse of me just playing Spider-Man 2 or something like that. Some game on the original Xbox. I don't know, am I alone in that? Do any of you have something like that? Where you were doing something else at the same time as gaming, and then when you see that something else, like 10 years later, you just get that glimpse of you playing that game. Oh, it happens to me all the time. Anyway, so I'm really happy Tony Hawk's doing well. I'm really happy that Rocket League is doing well because that is just a tremendous game. I want them to go free to play and make lots of money so that they can do a Rocket League 2 or whatever else they need to do. Speaking of which, I should get back into that. I should pick up Rocket League again. It's been a few years. But that's such a good game. That's another game I've put a lot of time into. 200 hours according to Steam and Xbox combined. And then, I mean, come on with this monster thing. Can you believe it? Like, when I was telling you the reason why they changed the name, were you expecting that one? Monster energy drink hiding in the shadows to swipe the trademark? I mean, come on. Because this is like, I mean, if it were like, I don't know, if you made a game and it was called Wars in the Stars, and then Star Wars came after you, and Disney came after you, I still am not like, I'm not happy about that. I think you should be able to call your game Wars in the Stars. But I kinda get it, right? But when you call a game Gods and Monsters, two very, very generic terms that are used probably incredibly frequently with video games, I don't think anybody hears that and goes, yeah, that's a Monster energy drink. I don't think that association is made. But they still deterred Ubisoft, which fascinates me. So to all you game developers out there, make sure you're not trademarking anything with Monster in the name. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm back tomorrow with even more news. So until then, farewell.